My beloved kitties, how are you? Good evening, good morning. Salute to you. How are you all doing? I'm down here in D-Man HQ and I've got nothing to do. And so I want to sit down and react with you. Do you like my poem? Thanks. Listen, I've got nothing to do. I figured, you know what? I'm just gonna start fucking cranking these bitches out because the last one got like 10 views. So obviously y'all are loving these. So let's keep it going, right? This party don't stop. We're gonna keep fucking rolling this train till she busts off the tracks, if you get what I'm saying, because I don't know what I'm saying. Listen, guys, listen. I've got another video. I've got a fun one here. Let's check this out. Look at this. This is hot off the presses 5 months ago. Patrick CC video is titled "The Death of Mainstream." I'm guessing he's talking about mainstream media in general. And obviously, you know, this is a good source because he shares the same name as I do. So clearly this guy's legit, right? I mean, what more proof do you need? But yeah, you know, without even having seen the video yet, I totally agree with you, Pat, because I think we're all starting to experience that, right? Like the death of mainstream, as everyone is just kind of getting secluded in their own little echo chambers on the internet, seeing whatever they want to see. People are overall just kind of done with being spoon fed the same narrative and the same media from like the main media conglomerates, however you say that, conglomerates. Could barely get that out. I think people are sick and tired of that shit. That has benefits, but it also has downsides because now the new conglomerates have just become like YouTube and these social media networks, right? So like now, instead of fucking CNN and ABC and NBC and all those platforms, it's just YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook and all these platforms, right? So really, is there a difference? Man, I don't know. But, you know, what can you do? It's funny. Because I kind of almost feel like everyone is going through this period of like fame is like easy now. It's like a cheap commodity, you know? And it's funny to me because at least the celebrities from like back in the day were paid for it well, like compensated really well for it. But if we're being honest, you know, I think if like YouTube and all these social media platforms could get their way, you would be famous as fuck. You would be as famous as Leonardo DiCaprio, except the difference is they would still have you like, you know, washing cars and mowing lawns. And I think that's kind of what we're speed running towards is like fame is just going to be this easily accessible thing. Throw up a couple of videos, wait a year or two, and you're going to be known by at least like 250,000 people. The problem is good luck getting paid for it, you know? And this is like actually something mentally that I've been kind of thinking about lately. Like, man, do I really want to do this? Because luckily I'm in a position where like it's not for the money. I'm fine. You know, I own my own business. I'm fine. I'm well off. I'm okay. But can you imagine like being some of these people on Instagram where it's like they got famous for doing like the one thing? Like the one girl in particular that pops into my mind is this girl that I saw on my Instagram account for my business, and it just popped up, and she was like feeding hamsters, right? And like singing lyrics to some song while she's feeding her hamsters, and that video went fucking viral. And now this girl every week has to sing to her hamsters a new song while she feeds them. And sure, I think that might be cool for a very small, short amount of time. But at some point, you're going to want to blow your fucking brains out, right? And especially if like you're not making money from it either, then it's just like this girl probably goes out onto the street. She has probably almost no money to her name. And if she does, great. Good for you. You know, I'm making assumptions, obviously some pretty heavy ones here. But just imagine that, right? Like you're famous on Instagram Reels or TikTok or whatever, but you didn't actually make any money from it. And so now you have to go live your life as a normal person, just like a middle class person existing, right? Except you also have to deal with like the bullshit that comes with fame. So like everywhere you go, if you're going down the street to get a coffee or a Big Mac or something, people are asking you for pictures and blowing you up no matter where you go as soon as you leave your house. So fucked up if you ask me. But yeah, who knows? Maybe that's not even what this video is about. But we're just having fun with it. We're rolling off the top. So, all right, let's get into it. Patrick CC, let's see what you have to say, my homie.
There is more high quality content available than ever before, and yet most.
By the way, I sent my girlfriend out to get me a milkshake. So, yeah, I did that. You know why? Because I wear the pants in this house. I wear the pants in this house. I don't give a fuck about what liberals say, okay? I'm also not no Andrew Tate either. I just want to point that out, okay? I don't believe in any of that bullshit. I'm just joking around here. But I wore the pants tonight, and so she's out getting me my milkshake. She's about to show up here any minute. Super pissed. Probably gonna throw it at me.
People feel like there is something missing. There was once a time where it felt like we were all on the same wavelength when it came to entertainment and pop culture. Everything felt more impactful. Movies were bigger. Music spread further. Famous
Yeah,
people
and like
were
everyone knew like everything. Like, when the new Eminem song dropped, it's like everyone knew about it because we only had like a few sources to get this stuff from, right? But now it's like every day someone's dropping some fucking music or some bullshit. I feel like the only big event in music lately I'm a huge hip hop head. I do a little rapping myself on the side, maybe one day I'll let you guys see it. But I feel like the only big thing that happened in like hip hop and music in general in years has just been like the Kendrick and Drake thing that happened last year, which honestly I don't even get it. I'd love if you guys kind of weighed in on that because obviously there's a lot of Kendrick fans and a lot of Drake fans, and I'm kind of right in the middle. I lean more towards Kendrick if I'm honest. But still, this stuff to me is kind of like, yeah, people want to see blood, hip hop, real hip hop. They want people fighting and fighting with their words, not with their fists. But at the end of the day, I kind of like, I get caught up in it and I love it. I love it. But after it kind of passes and that wave kind of fades, I'm left thinking like, oh man, was any of it real? You called Drake a pedophile. Y'all both said all this crazy shit about each other. It's been over a year. There's been zero receipts. Life's just kind of gone on. They've made their money. They've had their little tours and shows, and then it just kind of simmered away, and now no one gives a shit anymore. And that kind of it kind of annoys me a little bit. It's like, yo, was anything gonna happen from this? Was any like justice gonna happen from this? No, it never does. Sorry, I don't know. I'm just ranting.
actually famous. Awards meant something, and if there was a shocking story in the news, it was impossible to miss. It was much easier to have your finger on the pulse of pop culture, and it created this bond that we had together as strangers.
Right.
And we took it for granted, because now that that bond is gone, the world of entertainment, music, movies, shows, social media feels oversaturated, confusing, and dull. I bet most of you can relate to this. How many times these days does someone say to you, hey, did you hear about, or hey, did you see? And not only is your
No, I didn't hear about it and I didn't see it. I didn't. No, Pat, I know. I get the feeling, man. It's like like I just said, every day, every week, it's like something new drops, and it's just too much. It's like it's too much information. It's in one ear, out the other. And then obviously everyone's just getting flooded with these fucking short form content reels and videos all the time nonstop. So I just feel like the brain rot is just so much worse now too. No one remembers anything. It's crazy.
answer no, but you literally have no idea what they are talking about. Life wasn't always like that. What we are missing today and for the past few years is a monoculture, which is essentially one culture that all Americans are connected to. Sometimes
I like his mustache, dude. Pat, that's a great stash, my friend. It took some work.
I even call it the death of mainstream because nothing really feels mainstream anymore. Every
Yeah.
decade had their own version of monoculture that was seemingly easily defined. But what will define the 2020s? Monoculture is dead. And for anyone watching this that's like a teenager or younger, it means nothing because they can't relate to that experience. But literally anyone older than that remembers their version of monoculture and probably misses it because it represents a much more simple time. Every
Yeah.
generation before Gen Alpha had limited options for entertainment, and they thought it was a burden, flipping through TV channels saying, oh, there's nothing to watch. But now our options.
Oh, hello. Thank you so much for my wonderful milkshake, babe. I was just telling the internet how I sent you out to get me one because I wear the pants in this relationship. And and we're an Andrew Tate household here. We
No, immediately not.
Are infinite. 3.7 million YouTube videos uploaded every day, one streaming service with every song ever made, and 100,000 new songs being uploaded every day. Dozens of subscriptions.
it's just too much. It's like an overload of just information and entertainment. It's the same thing with like Netflix. Like he's got all these fucking streaming platforms up on the screen right now. It's like it's too much, and then you have such a vast choice at your fingertips. Now all of a sudden, you don't want to watch anything. You're just fucking scrolling there for a longer amount of time than you're actually watching the damn movie for. It's different. It was different when it was like an event, you know, when you had to fucking go out. You had to rent the movie from Blockbuster. You had to get some pizza from Little Caesars down the street or Pizza Hut. Excuse me, Pizza Hut. And you had to come back home, pop it in, turn the lights down. You know, you didn't have a fucking little cell phone ticking in your pocket every 10 seconds. It was a different time, folks. It was a different time. And I'm very much of the belief that it was different because you had to work for it. You get what I'm saying? It's like you had to go out there, like we just said, you had to rent the damn thing, you had to get in the car, you had to drive. And now that you have all these selections at your fingertips, it's just too easy. You know, when you don't have to put in any effort for something, it just becomes not worth it. And I think that's like just a good analogy for like life in general. Like if you're not willing to work for something, it's not gonna have a good payoff. If something just comes easy, it's not really gonna feel good. It's not gonna feel genuine. The same can even be said with like pointless sex and like hookups, right? Like if you just get everything handed to you, it's just not the same. You know, it's not the same.
Services with thousands of movies and TV shows, a literal endless singular feed of short form videos that one can spend hours without realizing the time has passed.
Yeah,
and
dude.
despite having access to all of this content, a lot of us feel bored and disconnected from each other. Well, today I want to talk about that feeling. That feeling like something is missing. I believe it is tied to the death of monoculture. So let's dive into how we got here, where it went wrong, and actually why some of you might consider it to be a good thing. Entertainment has always evolved based on the available technology. The easier it is to consume, the less impactful it is. Movie theater ticket sales had their all-time peak in the US in 1946. Over 90 million weekly admissions were recorded, which means that about 60% of the US population went to go see a movie that year. Now,
Wow.
were movies objectively better in 1946? Absolutely not. There were just less of them, and less entertainment overall. The introduction of the television likely slowed down movie ticket sales.
Right. It's like if you only get to eat ice cream once a month, it's going to fucking taste incredible. And it's going to be an event, like going to Blockbuster and renting a movie. But if you get to eat ice cream every fucking day, after a week, you're not even going to want to eat ice cream. You know, you're going to blow through all the flavors, and all of a sudden you're just going to be like, oh, fuck, do I even want a milkshake? Do I want ice cream anymore? Do I want it? I mean, I don't even feel like it. You know, it's like everything. And it's also I think what happens with technology in general, where it starts off amazing and like incredible, and then as people consume more and more of like a specific app or a specific website or whatever, or a game, video game or anything, it just becomes shittier and shittier with time. And that's due to a mixture of things, not just people getting bored of it, but also, it getting more advertised and corporatized. Yeah, just shit.
But opened up a whole new opportunity for entertainment, cartoons, sitcoms, and of course, ads. You've probably never heard of Spokio, Truthfinder, or Been Verified, but they've definitely heard of you. These are data brokers. Their entire business model is collecting your personal info and selling it to anyone willing to pay. They provide reports like this that have information about you, including your contact info, address, your relatives, and maybe even what car you drive. This stuff isn't just floating around by accident, it's being packaged, indexed, and sold legally right now. Data brokers are selling our private information without our consent. They make no attempt to stop scammers, spammers, or stalkers from buying it. The government does nothing to stop them. These data brokers are literally laughing all the way to the bank, probably paying off politicians, so this continues to remain legal. That's why I started using Aura, who's sponsoring this video. Aura finds the data brokers—
Oh, wow, pal. That was a hell of an ad placement. You son of a bitch. Guys, this guy's fucking good, dude. All right, this guy's good. Wow.
Exposing your info
Got
and
me.
automatically sends opt-out requests to get it taken down. You don't start
Holy
getting your
shit,
information
buddy.
removed
That
from
was
these
smooth.
sketchy sites. But even television has its limitations. You had to watch the show at the exact time it aired, or you missed it and had to wait for someone to tell you what happened the next day. Or even worse, you had to read this book called the TV Guide to figure out when they were going to air a rerun. Plus, there were only a few channels, so competition for attention was fierce. But that also meant that millions of people were watching the same thing at the same time. With most households operating on 9-to-5 work schedules, the only time carved out to entertain yourself was between 7 and 10. This was known as prime time, and that's when the few good shows were on. Families watched the same things together, and a new episode airing at 8 p.m. on a weeknight could dominate school hallways and office break rooms the next day. Worst case scenario, you could stay up for late night television where Letterman would catch you up on all your pop culture news. We were
I feel like we as millennials just got like the tail end of that, because I still remember being in grade school and like, yeah, people would show up to class and everyone would know like the newest Simpson episode or Family Guy or whatever was popular at the time, South Park. And yeah, that quickly died.
Connected as humans, kind of operating on the same wavelength, and the entertainment added to our humanity. That is, unless you were entirely disinterested from the few available shows and movies, then you had no other options, your life sucked, and you were looking for other forms of entertainment like heroin. But at least back then, it didn't have fentanyl in it. But the way people consumed movies and televisions stayed relatively the same for decades. By the 1970s, 95% of households had a TV in it. And then in the 80s and 90s, there was a massive uptick in available entertainment, like an entire TV channel dedicated to showing music videos, or an entire channel dedicated to showing cartoons. But even with more niche options, primetime shows still dominated pop culture, and Americans still felt a sense of togetherness through a somewhat limited availability. Is music not hitting the same anymore? Doesn't it feel like you used to have a connection with others based on a shared love for the same music? Well, music had a similar permeating connection to monoculture with a few key differences. For most of the 20th century, music was somewhat of a luxury. Today, for $15 a month, you can get access to every song ever made and 100,000 new ones uploaded daily. $15 used to get you one album, and you had to take your happy ass to a record store and physically buy it.
Again, it took effort. You had to go out, you had to get it, just like a movie, just like anything. You had to get it. Took effort. Anything that takes more effort has a better payoff.
And if the album was in high enough demand, they might not actually have it. And that seems like a dumb thing to say, but in our modern culture, entertainment is never not available to you. These stores often had a strong sense of community and served as a gathering place for music fans. It wasn't unusual for artists to stop in and play mini concerts or sign albums before an appearance in a particular city. When people bought an album, they were now invested. They worked hard for that money. So to get the value back, they actually listened to the whole thing. They even tried to like the songs that they didn't initially like because they paid for it, which ultimately made them appreciate the artistry on a different depth. This uninterrupted focus on the music built a deeper connection from the fans to the artist. Fans had to imagine what their favorite musicians were like based on lyrics, a few interviews, and carefully staged
Oh yeah, dude, that's a whole nother thing right there. The illusion is totally broken with social media. Like you're seeing this guy, whether it's an athlete or a musician, an actor, whoever. You're seeing them now, and these people are now following their social medias where he's showing you what he's eating every day. You're seeing him wear pajamas. You're seeing this guy take his kids to school. And I always ask myself, like, doesn't this like break the illusion for people? Apparently, for a lot of people, it doesn't. Because I guess a lot of people are just fucking creeps. But you would think that for many people, this would like break the illusion. Like, dude, if I'm seeing, whatever, Leonardo DiCaprio or whoever every day, taking kids to school or cooking or eating this or whatever, picking out clothes for his closet, or he's cleaning his fucking house or mowing his lawn. Obviously, none of them do that, but you get my point. It just breaks the illusion, or it should at least.
Photographs in magazines or posters on their wall. There was a mystique. Pop stars felt larger than life, almost like fictional characters, which is why people would pass out at the mere sight of Michael Jackson. Today we have countless interviews and endless access to all of their thoughts and opinions on social media. That mystery is gone. Artists are more accessible.
Wow. That guy looks like a pedophile.
Than ever, and because of that, they feel less special. And since music was basically a luxury, most people didn't have tons of disposable income to buy every release they wanted to listen to, so they typically resorted to listening to the radio or watching MTV. You couldn't just search your favorite Guns N' Roses song and get that instant gratification. You had to turn on MTV and just wait for it to come on, but in the meantime, you were consuming tons of other good songs that made you a more well-rounded music listener. And that was the same predicament for everyone. So at school dances, parties, or clubs, everyone felt connected because the songs that were being played were the ones that everyone had the same access to. A lot of club DJs today still mostly play music from the 2010s, and a lot of people wonder why they aren't playing more modern music. Like, are we all crippled by nostalgia? Well, not necessarily, but when you play music from the 2010s, you can kind of guarantee.
It's like that video that we just did last week where, did the world end in 2015, reacting to our pal Jack RLP. And it's true, dude. As soon as these little iPhones got put in our pockets and the social networks really took off, just the overflow of information and media and just the nonstop constant dump of like entertainment, whether it's music or videos or whatever, it's an overflow, and that valve never got turned off or shut down. It just kept getting cranked up, and every year it just keeps cranking up harder and harder and harder. And I think the brain rot is it's getting real, and people just don't retain any of this shit anymore. Whereas, yeah, like 2015, pre 2010, those were like the golden years, because it was all getting fed through just a couple of like pipeline sources, and this is where like, yeah, it was terrible, the fact that most of these industries had gatekeepers. But if you think about it, because they did have crazy gatekeepers, that's kind of why we were able to like all connect over this stuff, because only a few people were able to get their voices and their music out there. That's funny how that works.
That everyone in the club is going to know those songs. Whereas today, everyone just listens to vastly different music. What's considered extremely
Everyone's in their own world
and mainstream to you might literally not be considered extremely popular and mainstream to the person next to you. Today, we have unlimited access to every song ever made. When a new song or album drops, it is just right there in your phone. You don't have to talk to anyone, don't have to buy it, don't have to wait. Most of the time, the artist is actually begging you to listen to it, or
Yeah.
you accidentally found out about it. You didn't even want to discover it. Most people have resorted to just letting the algorithm decide what music to recommend to them because it's easier than doing all of the effort I just talked about before. Combine this lack of mono connectivity through music, requiring absolutely no effort to get access to the music, as well as artists not having the star power due to overexposure, and surprise, surprise, music holds absolutely no value to the average casual listener.
I find it so fucking crazy too now seeing some of these interviews with like guys like Russ and stuff talking about how these labels and stuff will literally pay to like bot views on like YouTube and stuff for these artists shit. So like when you're seeing like an MGK song or something or whoever, not to throw him under the bus, you know, great guy, whatever. Love the painted nails, faggot. Kidding. It's just weird how like even these dudes who are supposed to be viewed as like these massive celebrities, they're barely breaking like 1 million views on their videos or even like 500,000 views, and that's with like clearly botted viewership too, like paid promotions. You have an entire label, an entire team of people pushing this video, and you're only able to get like 500,000 views on it. And then rewind to like 5-10 years ago, these songs have like billions of views. Stuff's not adding up anymore.
Once we entered the 2000s, the rapid advancement of available technology caused a dominant monoculture to become more fragmented. TVs were becoming cheaper, bigger, and higher quality. The internet was getting faster, becoming easier to access and navigate. Cell phones were in everyone's pocket. We were becoming more connected than ever, but we didn't realize it was actually going to drive us.
I miss AOL Instant Messenger so bad. Those were the days, dude. Those were the days. But like I said, everything with the internet starts off amazing and then slowly turns dystopian. If you've been on the internet pre-2010, that is one fact that you should have known and learned by now. It always starts off amazing and it turns into a digital hell.
Further apart. In my opinion, 2000 to 2010 was a great sweet spot for pop culture. I would describe today's culture as everything all at once. And the early 2000s was the same, but it was slightly more manageable. Let's start simple. Movies. Here's a graph of every movie released per year around the world. You can see the quantity of movies released remained relatively the same from the early 1970s to the late 1990s, and it just started slowly ramping up in the 2000s before it exponentially exploded. Back then, there was a rhythm to it all. You'd get 2 or 3 massive blockbusters every summer, movies like Spider-Man, Pirates of the Caribbean, or The Dark Knight, which dominated culture for weeks. As fall and winter rolled in, you'd see smaller budget, more experimental, or just simple films rise to the surface. Movies like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Little Miss Sunshine, Juno, and Requiem for a Dream. Everyone kind of knew what was coming and when it was coming, and that predictability created a shared sense of anticipation. Even smaller budget films had a shot at becoming massive, and the reason they had a shot was because people actually went to the theaters. Our last peak in movie theater ticket sales was in 2002 when 1.5 billion tickets were sold. But even if you didn't go to the theater, we had these really cool things called DVDs, where you could buy the movie that you missed and watch it at home. And if you didn't want to commit to buying it, no worries. You could rent the film for a few bucks by going to this magical...
I'm glad that me and Patrick are clearly on the same wavelength. Man, I miss Blockbuster. And I'm sure many of you do too. Man, do you guys remember that lit like candy aisle they had like right in front of the registers? Best fucking candy selection ever.
Place called Blockbuster. This is a store where you could essentially browse all of the movies that you didn't get the chance to see. You would actually talk to the employee who worked there, and they... Before
it all totally went away, I still had like Blockbuster went, totally went away, but I still for a couple of years here had Family Video, and they kept chugging along, and I was like, all right, they're gonna make it. It's gonna be okay. Family Video, if I can just personally keep them in business, it's gonna be okay. I can do this. I can personally keep them in business. But sure enough, the door's closed.
would give you a recommendation or tell you what everyone else is renting. Sometimes a movie was in such high demand that all of their copies would be rented and you couldn't get it. Imagine that. Imagine any form of entertainment being unavailable for you today. Scarcity created demand, and it made the film more exciting. It made you want to watch it more. Most of those crappy yet special early 2000s comedies were the perfect films to pick up at a blockbuster, and people loved that place. The company earned $5 billion in revenue in 2004. The point is that you and everyone around you had this physical connection with the
You know what it is too, Pat? You know what it is? It's not even that people didn't want Blockbuster anymore, okay? These fucking greedy corporations like Netflix and their little hedge fund buddies, they are the ones that didn't want Blockbuster. And those motherfuckers are the ones that made sure that it was no longer going to be a thing. Just like they tried to do it with GameStop, just like they try to do it many, many different ways to many different good, solid, physical businesses. These fucking hedge fund pricks just came for physical businesses. Outright just made a short bet on these places and then behind the scenes purposely drove the shit into the ground. This happened with Blockbuster, this happened with Sears, this happened with many places. Radio Shack. Sure you guys remember Radio Shack? What a great place. It's sad. It's sad what happened, and it's sad what a couple of rich pricks were able to do. All just for greed, really. Just for greed. And so what are we left with now? Like nothing. We're just left with these fucking soulless corporations and these soulless just fucking apps on our phones. There's no physical, like, dude, you go hit Blockbuster down the street on a Friday night, get some smoothies or something, or hey, get a milkshake. You might meet a girl, you might meet somebody, you might make a new friend, you might hit it off with the fucking cash register guy, you might see some shit go down. I mean, it was you felt alive, you know? You felt alive. And what do you feel now? Nothing.
entertainment and was actively using their brain to choose what they wanted to consume. TV still had a somewhat similar rhythm in the 2000s. Primetime was still valuable airtime. MTV was in its best era, in my opinion, having a plethora of terrible yet oddly captivating reality TV.
Look at these fucking drug addicts. My God. The fact that they made these fucking pieces of shit famous. And I mean, I don't know what age you guys are, but I was in high school when this stuff started kicking off. I was like freshman year. And the fact that they planted the shit that they planted in our heads with the fuck shit that they were on and doing. And obviously we saw this stuff as teenagers and as kids. And it sent us into these like crazy spirals of like sex addiction and partying and drinking. And where do you guys think that stuff came from? Okay, it came from these fucking clowns, because these were essentially our role models as kids. And of course now they're fucking playing Family Man and fucking Good Wife, Good Housewives. Look at us, we've got kids, we've got nice businesses, we're good people. No, you're fucking not. You're pieces of shit. You're pieces of shit. And you disgust me.
TV shows and experimental series while still having their sister network, MTV2, play music videos 24/7. It was one of the most versatile eras for mainstream music, with lyrical rap, crunk rap, rock, emo rock, country, pop, EDM, R&B, and countless other genres in a healthy rotation on MTV and the radio. It was just on the cusp of being overwhelming, but having it all contained on MTV and VH1 made it still manageable to keep up with.
Right, and you could only really access it through like your TV or a physical computer when you go home and like sit at the fucking goddamn desk, right? But now it's just like it's on you all the time, 24/7. Just fucking swipe 3 times and you have anything you want or could imagine in the world, any movie, any music, any song, any video, anything. But before, again, it was a process. It took effort. And even though you could only get it on your computer or on your television, you couldn't even get it like on demand right away unless you were rich and you had like Comcast on demand or whatever. But otherwise, you had to like wait. You had to plan that shit out, right? You had to fucking go through your little TV guide and be like, oh shit, okay, Jersey Shore or Rugrats or whatever, Drake and Josh, that's not gonna be on until 8 o'clock. Well, fuck. What am I gonna? I'll go ride my bike for 2 hours and come back home, and then I'll get to watch it. It took effort. It took effort, guys.
Were absolutely consumed by Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and Cartoon Network, which were 3 separate networks that each had 2 to 3 shows worth paying attention to in their respective eras. We still had a healthy separation between our personal lives and our school and work life from 9 to 5, only entertaining ourselves lightly in the morning and in the evenings. We didn't have a phone to distract us from literally every millisecond of boredom. The entertainment
I'm telling you, dude, me and Pat CC right here, this is fucking telepathy. That's telepathy. By the way, Pat, what's this stuff back here? I like that. What is that artwork? I gotta message you. Pick up a couple of those.
Still felt limited enough that you could feel like everyone around you was on the same wavelength. Plus, we were still at the mercy of knowing the schedule of when new shows were
telepathy,
going to air.
dude. I'm telling you.
But that started to die when cable companies provided DVR capabilities. You can now record your favorite shows and movies and watch them.
And there it is, dude. There's your little fucking on-demand button too. And you're right, Pat. You could then start recording it, and it was just like, oh, great, now I can binge it whenever the fuck I want. That's when the downfall really started.
Later, whenever you wanted. This was the beginning of the streaming service era takeover that so many people today loathe. Today, you may feel like you are not as connected to the culture because 1, less people are going to the theaters, and 2, the DVD and TV business has been demolished by streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, etc. Being able to stream anything.
And I feel the day of reckoning will come for these places and these platforms. It will come. And we can see this in real time. It's happening already, okay? It's happening already. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. These people are not making, even when it comes to YouTube, right? These YouTubers are getting butthurt, but they're not making the money that you think they're making anymore. 2020 and 2021 was like a Goldilocks period. Why? It's obvious. Everyone was sitting at their house with their fucking dicks in their hands, not doing anything, just watching the screens 24/7. Excuse me. Crazy views, right? 24/7 viewership. These dudes were just stupid money, stupid views. And what happened? All of a sudden, economy's getting a little shaky. Oh, fuck. The normal people, the peasants are figuring out that the money's just paper and they print it out of thin air. All of a sudden, everyone's working 2-3 fucking jobs just to get by. Well, shit, dude. No one's got time to watch your little YouTube videos. And all of a sudden, now the sponsors are pulling all of their money because they're seeing you're not really fucking selling shit for them. I think the day of reckoning is coming, and it's coming sooner than people think. And a lot of these guys, especially, and I'll have a separate video on this, but especially these fucking car YouTubers, who I used to like a lot. And I used to know a lot of them personally because I was a big car guy going to those car meets on a weekly basis when I was younger. And what happened to those guys? Just first slowly and then very rapidly, just completely disconnected from reality, right? Like this in the beginning felt like people like you could connect with, right? And just to use the car guy example in particular, this all started as like dudes filming themselves wrenching inside of a garage, working on like a Honda Civic, that was like worth $5,000 or something. And what did it turn into? Every week it's like, I just bought a new Lamborghini. I just bought a Ferrari. I just bought a new Corvette. I just bought this. I just bought that. Now we're giving away cars too because we're fucking laundering money through taxes. Now, hey guys, come subscribe to my giveaway. I'll give you a turbo. I'll give you a fucking car. And then it just kept snowballing and snowballing. And it's just like these guys, it's like a drug, dude. They just felt like they had to keep going bigger and bigger and bigger. And meanwhile, you look at the comments and the audience is just like, no, dude. The only reason I was connecting with your videos was because I felt like you were a regular guy like me. And you were just out in your garage willing to film yourself wrenching on your car. And now you have a fucking film crew of like 12 people. And all of a sudden you're not even filming your cars anymore. You're buying $1 million house and in a racetrack, and now you have a plane, and now you have a private jet and a helicopter and a fucking airport. And when does it stop? You know, at what point? I'm always so curious. Like, at what point is the audience just going to be like, fuck you, dude. Like, you're not even remotely on our level anymore. We don't connect with you at all. You're not even a regular person anymore. You're just some weird, like, mystical figure. It's crazy. I'll do a separate video on this because I have a lot to say about the car world on YouTube.
Thing, anywhere, anytime, all while being alone in your room means there's no anticipation, no excitement, nobody to share the experience with, and therefore no real reason to watch, which is why you simply scroll and scroll through endless choices, waiting for something to magically grab your attention, waiting for something to give you a reason to watch,
never does.
but it just never happens. On a lighter note, every now and again, we do have a monoculture moment. I think back to the Barbie movie where girls were excited to dress in all pink and
never saw it. Never saw it. Miss me with that fucking weird bullshit, okay, Pat?
drag their boyfriends to the theaters, only for the guys to immediately after drag their girls to see Oppenheimer, where I'm assuming many of them fell asleep. I think back to Squid Games, where it felt like everyone and their mother was blindsided by this dystopian critique of capitalism disguised as a up game show. As far as films go, it feels like it's only every couple of years where there is a moment that we are all in sync, when it used to be literally
right. And lately it's just felt like it's clearly like corporations are trying to push a message, you know, whereas in the past it was like, no, these people just want to make a good movie, you know, and just to get a studio to like invest in your good movie and produce it was like a challenge, you know. And now it's just like the point has become, how much of a woke message can we push? You know, what kind of a programming message as a corporation can we use this movie to push? Like what was it? Was it the Wizard of Oz movie or the one with like Ariana Grande? My God, bitch, you look like you're dying. Whatever that one was, that was fucking crazy. And I'm just sitting there like, how are people watching this? I didn't watch it. I watched the ads on YouTube or whatever, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? But again, I think the day of reckoning is coming. You've already seen it with Disney, just so I think it's coming for all of them.
literally all year, every year. I can't even remember the last time music had a monoculture moment. I mean, sure, radio is still kind
Drake
of
and
relevant.
Kendrick
TikTok
was the moment.
made popular songs more popular, but there's so much music all over the place.
Drake and Kendrick was like the monoculture moment for a split second, and it's because it hadn't happened in something like that we hadn't seen in so long, and also because the guy literally called Drake a pedophile. I think that's, and it took it getting to that level of seriousness for it to even get to people's radars anymore.
Time that I don't even know what anybody's listening to anymore. For TV, Yellowstone, Severance, White Lotus, Love Island. I mean, they are extremely popular, but can we say everyone is watching those shows? Will those
I haven't seen a single one of them.
This era? I bet there are a ton of you watching that are like, I didn't watch a single one of those shows. The irony of it all is that the death of a unified culture everyone seems to be feeling came with our pursuit to be more connected than ever before. Because the adaptation of the internet and social media into our everyday lives was the nail in the coffin for monoculture. By the turn of the century, everyone with extra cash had a computer somewhere.
My computer literally looked like that. I don't know how you were able to get a picture of my computer in my desk, Pat. It's kind of creepy. My monitor even had these little fucking, what are those, parrots, whatever, on the top there. I think I had this exact model. And this is the first computer I ever started playing Counter-Strike on. And I feel like it was that game that sent me into this simulation and this fucking weird black hole that we're in right now in this digital world. But God damn it, I love that game. I think Windows 2000 was like the first, this was like the first Windows that I had. I don't think I had 98, and I think 2000 came before XP, right? So I think this is the first one I ever had. And goddamn it, 1.6 Counter-Strike ran like a Swiss watch on that thing, dude. Meanwhile, I've got a fucking RTX 4080 now, and I could barely run Microsoft Flight Simulator. You know what? Fuck you, Microsoft, for releasing such a piece of shit broken game. And these guys honestly thought that they could use Reddit, that echo chamber of just disaster, to actually force feed opinions of like, oh, the game's not that broken. It's broken. It's fucked up. It's been over a year since Microsoft Flight Simulator came out. My 4080 can still barely run it, and the game crashes, I don't know, once every 3 hours or so. It's a fucking joke what's become of the gaming industry.
The house. Our parents were using them to basically replace what the newspaper did for decades. As the desktops and internet connection got faster, we looked at forums, chatted through AOL
forums,
Instant Messenger,
AOL,
played
those were the
Flash games
days.
on Newgrounds, and even bid on random antiques from eBay. Being connected to random people all over the world was beautiful. You were no longer limited to the thoughts.
It was the days, Pat, it was the days when internet was free, dude. It was like the Wild West. And I understand that a lot of bad things come from that too, obviously. But I feel like a lot of worse things come from this internet now that's like super centralized and corporatized, because they just control people's minds like fucking cattle or sheep. Whereas before, it's like you almost had to think for yourself. There were so many options. You had to like pick and choose for yourself, and it was truly the Wild West. And it was beautiful because it allowed people to actually be artistic and express themselves. And it was like a different time. And I feel like that's why back in the day, a lot of us millennials didn't even see YouTube and stuff like this as like a viable like career path, because every year it was like a new website taking over the game. It was like first it was Zanga, then MySpace, and YouTube was like barely even a thing, and there were so many other platforms, and every year it was like one would fall, another one would rise, and everyone got like their fun time in the spotlight to just have fun and be artistic. Meanwhile, what's happened like the last fucking 15 years, dude? It's just like these 5 huge corporations like Facebook and YouTube and Google just slowly bought out every competitor. And that's it. You're just stuck with this fucking stranglehold. It's literally a digital monopoly. And I'm waiting till a president comes along. And God, I hope it's Trump. That would be huge. It just breaks these motherfuckers up, dude. Break it all up. Break up Apple. Break up Google. Break up YouTube, which I think is already a part of Google anyway. Break up Facebook, because they own Instagram and Snapchat and all that shit too. It's literally like 5 companies, dude. And people wonder why there's no like new fresh stuff on the internet, because they won't allow it to surface. They just won't.
Beliefs and interests of those in your geographical
I'm getting
location.
heated.
The internet was still somewhat difficult to navigate. You know, there was a time when
Yes.
Google didn't have all the answers.
It's like you had to
check
think.
other search
You had to
engines
think.
like Yahoo and my favorite, Ask Jeeves, to find what you were looking for.
Yes.
Videos would take forever to load. The quality was often terrible, and
Day of Defeat. I know it, dude. Pat's a gamer. I'm sure he was on this shit. Day of Defeat, Counter-Strike. Pat, I know you played. Don't even bullshit me.
sometimes just straight up didn't work. Using the internet kind of felt like exploring uncharted land. That friction, scarcity, and lack of instant gratification was what made it special. It was worth working for. Today, we just expect things to work. We demand convenience, and we are willing to give up our human autonomy for it. Initially, the internet...
And because you don't have to work for it, it's not as good. If it doesn't take effort, it's not worth it. There's no reward without any effort.
entertainment industry as a whole saw the internet as a threat because of piracy. Suddenly, millions of people could download movies, music, and TV shows for free through networks like Napster, LimeWire, and torrent sites completely...
Y'all remember BearShare too? I must have fucking... I think I blew up like 3 computers just using BearShare alone.
bypassing traditional revenue models. Studios, labels, and networks feared the collapse of their business structures, as physical sales and TV deals were at the risk of being replaced. The internet stripped them of control, and for the first time, the consumer had the power to access content without paying a cent. From the consumer's perspective, the logic was simple. Why pay for something when you can get it for free instantly? Piracy wasn't just about being cheap, it was about convenience. Buying a CD or DVD meant meant going to a store, spending 10 to 20 bucks, and hoping you'd like the full album or movie. Then again, people didn't realize the nuanced value of the additional human experiences they got while consuming entertainment. All that driving to the store, talking to people, limited inventory, sitting
This
on a
is what
sticky
I'm
theater
talking
seat,
about.
that was all just considered to be an inconvenient cost to getting what you wanted.
Right. And then afterwards you realize like, oh no, it was like it made the payoff so much greater.
You couldn't argue against the value that the internet brought to individuals. It gave everyone a voice, a platform, and endless options tailored exactly.
And in the time, in the moment, it did seem like the better route, right? Like if someone offers you an easier route, like obviously, you know, we're all spoiled kids, we're gonna take it.
To their
Now
preferences.
here we are.
And that ramped up significantly in 2003 when MySpace became the first widely accepted platform for social media. By 2005, the platform had around 3.
Tom, I hope you're doing well out there somewhere, buddy. And I hope you make a comeback. And you know what? I pray to God every night that you do. Because if you made a comeback, my God, it would be amazing.
300 million users and had an estimated valuation of over $10 billion. The platform allowed people to share their personal passions and stories as individuals. If nobody in your real life aligned with your interests, you would be able to find a community of like-minded people online. People started calling random strangers on the internet their friends. They became invested in their lives, wanting to know what they were doing in their geographical location. Your connection to random people around the world started to make you disconnected from those physically around you. Slowly, the digital world began to feel more important than the physical one. As platforms evolved, first with Facebook, then Instagram, and eventually TikTok, the focus shifted even further away from a shared experience and towards personal branding. Algorithms were designed not to connect people as a whole, but to keep you personally engaged, feeding you content you already agreed with or found entertaining. The internet became less of a town square and more of an echo chamber, reflecting only your own tastes, beliefs, and biases back at you, just so you wouldn't click off the app. Social media stopped being about community and became a stage where everyone was the main.
It's funny how quickly that changed on social media too, right? Like I remember there was a good like period of Facebook when Facebook was new and still fresh, like when it just got out of that like just for college kids stage and like opened up to us younger kids. It was pretty fucking awesome. You would log into Facebook, and not to say MySpace wasn't amazing, it was. And if you go back before that, Zynga was awesome too. But I do remember a good time on Facebook as well, where you would log in and it was just like some real friends, a couple internet friends you met along the way. And the only thing you saw on the timeline was just a couple of updates from a few of those people. Like it was literally meant to connect you guys together. And quickly it shifted from that to just like, what? I don't even know these people. What are these ads I'm seeing in my timeline? I don't even know who this person is. Who is this fucking Steve Will Do It faggot chugging bottles of vodka? You know, like what it's so, and that became on YouTube and everything. It's like so quickly it went from like people you were subscribed to and actual good recommendations to just like, what is this algorithm even fucking putting in front of my face right now? You know?
Character of their own story. It made individuals feel more powerful than ever, which could be considered a good thing, but it also created a cultural landscape more narcissistic, divisive, and isolated than any era in history. So the reason why movies, TV, YouTube, social media, and literally all other forms of entertainment don't feel the same is a combination of really complicated nuances. However, with a shift in mentality, you could look at all of this as a good thing. If you are a strong-minded individual, introverted, or just someone who doesn't really care about a sense of community and those around you, you are in the golden ages. For decades, if you didn't fit into the narrow lens of what the mainstream deemed valuable, if you didn't like the biggest pop star, or wear the right clothes, or relate to the 5 TV shows everyone else watched, you were invisible. You had nowhere to go. You were the weird kid, the quiet one, the one who didn't belong. But now, the internet gives you infinite options to find belonging, and literally any interest you may have, no matter how unique it is, chances are there is a niche community where someone like
Well, and I feel like that's how we end up in this woke like weird culture where it's like how are these people even agreeing with like supporting dictators or all this other bullshit, you know, not to even bring up COVID or any of that stuff anymore, but it's like I would often ask myself, how did most of these people even end up on that side? Like how could you even possibly agree with this if you're having open discussions with like friends and stuff. But then to touch on Pat's point, like it makes sense, right? Like if you're just sitting at home alone, you don't have any friends in real life. You don't have any other views that differ from your own. Yeah, you're probably gonna slip up, stumble, and get caught up in some weird fucking digital crowd thinking that like you're supporting the right thing when if you just step out of your fucking house for 5 minutes and talk to someone real, you would realize, oh shit, no, I'm agreeing with crazy people. You know, like
Like you isn't just accepted, you're celebrated. Do you like wolves eating watermelons? So do 61,000 other people. Do you like stapling bread to trees? So do 335,000 other people. Today, a girl who was once mocked in school for drawing anime characters in her notebook can become a full-time artist with a fan base of thousands or
and make
millions. A
no
kid
money
who was
for it.
laughed at for making weird songs on his cracked BandLab app can go viral on TikTok and then chart on the Spotify Viral 50. A
And make
filmmaker
no
with
money
no
for it.
connections and no budget can put their short film on YouTube and have it resonate with millions of people around the world. These stories were impossible in the monoculture era because the gatekeepers decided what was and what wasn't. Before the internet, independence was next to impossible, and today the gatekeepers have less power than ever. So maybe entertainment feels more chaotic, more overwhelming, and less special. Maybe we are no longer all connected under a simple, easy to navigate monoculture, but there is more opportunity than ever for a small independent creator to
Well,
get
and it's like I said earlier in the video, Pat. Like Pat just brought it up too. I feel like because these gatekeepers no longer exist and have entirely lost their grip hold on art, entertainment, and like music and film. This is now like yeah, the floodgates are just totally open, and it's just nonstop, just fucking overload of shit. You know, because those gatekeepers are gone. So in a way, it is kind of funny how it's just kind of like, oh wow, well when there were gatekeepers, at least like yeah, we were getting like curated bullshit and like we all knew that there was way more talented people out there, but at least we collectively had stuff to like agree on because we were all like listening and watching the same shit.
a taste of that success. And for consumers, if you know what your interests are and do not let algorithms decide what you want to watch and are willing to do the tedious task to actively get outside of the echo chamber that these algorithms are trying to hold
And it
you
is a
in
tedious
and find
task
that
now.
one quality YouTuber or that one underrated Hulu series, then you are probably completely fine with today's entertainment
It
climate.
only gets harder
Build
and
your own
harder too.
world. Who cares about community? This is your life. Now, I personally go back and forth on my feelings towards the death of monoculture. I don't personally feel drowned out in content. Since I have terrible movie and TV taste, I will watch just about anything as long as there is a decent premise for the plot. As far as music goes, I am totally willing to put in the grind to find my new favorite artist, and I'm actually one of those annoying people who kind of starts to dislike someone when they get more famous. So I actively look
I'm the same way, and that's kind of the talking point I was using for the car YouTubers thing. You know, I mean, Pat, you've got a pretty big channel. I might have to start disliking you soon too. Just kidding. But no, yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like when someone blows up to a certain point, it's not that even like I dislike them, but I more so I become more hyper aware of like the way they move and the shit that they post and share, right? Like it's one thing if like you blow up even as a car YouTuber or through music or whatever, that's fine. And I'll still support you if the music and the videos and stuff are good. But if it transitions into like a thing where it's like Drake or any of these other big like car YouTubers or musicians where you're also sharing on your social media and stuff about how lavishly you're living and how much fucking cooler your life is than everyone else's and how many bitches you're fucking and look at my jewelry and look at this fucking $300 million home I just built. that's the shit that makes me become like, dude, fuck you, eat a dick. I hope it all falls apart for you, you know. And I think that's just like a human thing. Like, yeah, obviously, like we want to support our fellow humans and see everyone succeed and get blessed. But once you do get blessed, like, dude, give back and stay humble. Okay, stay to shout out Kendrick. Keep it humble, right? Like, don't start fucking rubbing shit in our faces just because you made it. You know what I mean?
For underrated talent, and Spotify and social media makes that a million times easier and more convenient. But at the same time, I do miss that sense of monoculture. I play a lot of
Yeah.
golf, and when I meet new
Hey,
people,
me
I've
too,
had
Pat.
countless conversations
What's your handicap? How much you typically shoot on 18 holes? Message me.
that lead nowhere because we have absolutely nothing in common due to being stuck in totally different algorithmic echo chambers. Sometimes the golfers don't even watch golf, so I'm just like, how's the weather? And obviously, I'm a creator, so I'm benefiting from a system that was created for me to succeed. And because of my feelings going back and forth, my channel is somewhat a reflection of the lack of and yearning for an entertainment monoculture. My YouTube channel is kind of like a 2000s MTV inspired hodgepodge of modern pop culture. Firstly,
Yeah.
I'm reliable, posting every Monday at 3:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And every week we talk about something pop culture related. Sometimes it's music, sometimes it's film, sometimes it's internet personalities, sometimes it's a comedian, action sports star, politics. The modern YouTube algorithm wants you to keep making the same video over and over with the same thumbnails and dominate one specific niche, which is why you see so many successful channels being repetitive, because that is literally what works. I try
That's why we're gonna dominate the reaction niche, guys. Me and the 10 of you who are watching me, we're fucking coming for the Asmongold's of the industry, okay? Not to say I don't love you, Zach. I do.
to keep a balance. And because of that, some videos get more views than others, some videos bomb, but I hope you enjoy me keeping that old early
Dude,
2000s variety.
absolutely, Pat. I enjoy your stuff, and I'll be sure to be, reacting to way more of it. Look at this. Already subbed to you. Obviously, guys, I'm going to link this video in the description down below. What a wonderful video. As always, I mean, this has been fun. Pat, this was high quality. This was great. Really enjoyed reacting to it. I hope if you ever see this reaction, you enjoy it. Yes, we had a lot of the same takes that I spoke on before you even said it in your video, so it was cool to see like you bring it up after the fact. That's kind of been as I film more of these reaction videos, that's been a fun feeling of like if I react and say something before it actually happens in the video, it's kind of cool. It's like I can tell me and the guy who made the video I'm reacting to are on the same wavelength. So that's dope, man. It was cool to connect with you through this video. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Give me some suggestions for more stuff to react to. Really been enjoying this. And of course, go subscribe to Patrick CC. He makes some great stuff, and we'll definitely be reacting to more of it. All right, guys. Good night. I'm going to finish the rest of this milkshake and head to bed. Later.